We are not so different. Good morning, good morning, good morning, my We Are Not So Different family. Thank you for taking your time to tune into another episode, saga, issue. I don't know. I feel like I call them so many different things, but anyway, you here. Thank you so much. This morning, I have the guest, Miss De'Nicea. Am I saying that correctly?
De'Nicea.
De'Nicea. And I think I said that before, and I'm sorry if I messed it up because I'm looking at it. And you know what? I was going to go in a whole rabbit hole. Anyway, De'Nicea Hilton Harper this morning. Hi, Miss De'Nicea. I did it again.
It's gonna come.
No, that was the last time. That was the last time. De'Nicea?
Yes.
Okay. That was me telling myself, De'Nicea, Andre, get it together. So that was the last time. Okay.
And I did put it in my notes too. I was like, it's Andrea. Like I put it
because it's important. I mean, I know it's a name, but after so many people butchering, and I get it, like your name is spelled differently. Hey, Andrea. No, my name is not Andrea. Hey, Andrea. No, my name is Andrea. So yes, I'm making a big deal of it. And I'm sorry. That was a tangent. And y'all know, since I don't do no editing, welcome to my mid-morning tangent. Anyway, let me give a little background about Ms. De'Nicea Hilton Harper. So, she brings a playful, holistic perspective to healing and well-being, where women realize the possibilities available to them by claiming, I am whole, I am complete, I am perfect. Love it, love it, love it. We're going to get back to that because I got questions. But anyway, I carry on. As she was practicing in women's health, De'Nicea saw a link between the physical conditions women were experiencing and the lack of awareness and expression of the inner self. So now De'Nicea is on a mission of mitigating women's health experiences by creating playful healing spaces for women to embrace, embody, and express her perfect, authentic self. That was just like, I feel like that was a meal, not a snack. That was a meal. And I think it's perfect because, as you guys know, I'm doing this segment this month on plus size. And the fact that you made a connection between the physical conditions of women and their lack of awareness and expression of their inner self, I can't wait to dig into that a little bit more. But boop, before we do, all my guests, they get the same question each and every time. So I'm going to give you two. But before they do, I have to talk to my audience. Hold on, De'Nicea. So, audience, this is that time of the show where you find your favorite spot on the couch. You find your favorite drink, whether it's Kool-Aid or Cavassier. Get nice and snuggled into that soft spot, the part that's, created just for your butt, whether it's an ample butt or a little butt, and tune into this conversation. So, Miss De'Nicea, question number one. If you had the undivided attention of an audience of your choosing, who would said audience be, and what would you tell them?
Audience of my choosing.
The undivided audience. Ooh, undivided attention. They are waiting with bated breath for Miss De'Nicea to speak.
Okay. So it's going to be a mix of people, right?
We like mixes. Come on.
Yes. Mm-hmm. A mix of people. I would say there's going to be some parents.
Okay.
Going to be some aunties and uncles. It's going to be some corporate executives. Okay. It's going to be some health insurance executives. It's going to be some menstrual products and fertility product executives.
Okay.
let's see, who else is there going to be? There's going to be some like human trafficking advocates, and there's going to be some group home people. There's going to be some educators and administrators also. They're all
You
going to
do
be
have a nice mix. Okay. Just bring everybody. Everybody.
yeah.
Come on.
And so because they all are people that women would come across from growing up,
Okay.
that actually are, those people have a chance to see, not only see, but actually to create the spaces for women to be who they are naturally, and to not make them feel like whatever is happening for them is their fault, or to feel bad, or to feel ashamed that these are things that are happening. However, there are ways that each of those could create these spaces where they are seen for who they are. They are provided with the tools and the resources to be able to continue to help them along in their own personal journey.
Yeah.
And they're the people that, like, if you saw it, there's some that are one-to-one, and then there's some that are even just through the company, through literally the product itself. So I'd want them to take these things into considerations, like how can you in the education system create the space for this to happen, and where is it in the workplace that you can create this space for this to happen? Where is it in your marketing and advertising? You don't have to put down women or make her feel insecure in order to sell your product. There's other ways that we can do that, and you can still make sales. Right, like, and or are you being called to innovate? And so, like, to be able to have an audience of these people that are there, and those that are the advocates or the executives of these nonprofits that do need resources for their people that they're helping, I want to put them in the audience with the ones who can actually give them the funds to do so. They can make those connections, and they could also learn too, like, yeah, what are some things? Oh, you know what, I forgot. Therapists and other mental health counselors and stuff, they'd be in there as well, like, to learn from each other
Yeah.
and what each of us have to offer, so that we don't see that we're operating in silos. Because the thing is once one of us makes an impact into her, it's affecting even the other ones. So what if we all came together and we put all of it in there? Like, what are our strengths in our areas? And, like, everybody just kind of like Captain America, like Captain America. What's the one? The Planeteers, or the
No, stop. You
Captain
did better.
Planet. She's like,
No, we're not doing that. Going back to Captain America.
like the greatest of, it's almost like Avengers and DC came together
There we
and was
go.
like, let's just all put this, we're gonna bring Marvel people and DC people and all see, like, we all want what's great for our communities. Isn't that what
Right?
we're all doing? And so how can we
Yeah.
all use our superpowers to do that together? There we go.
I love how you drew that analogy on together. You was kind of shaky with the whole Captain Planet, but you redeemed yourself. All right.
Planet needs love too. So we have to invite the environmentalists. I just thought about it. So they
Oh
can
my gosh.
offer ideas on how it is that we could, have sustainable menstrual products and stuff like that too. So, like, yeah, like, yeah.
She
You
just
see?
wants to bring everybody together. Like that old commotion, what was it? The Coca-Cola commercial when they brought the whole world together for a Coke.
Let's all
That's
do
Miss
that. Can we
De'Nicea.
do that? And we're all gonna meet, like, where are we gonna meet at? We need a beach area, and we need some mountains too close by. We need, like, we're all
We
gonna
need
meet
lots of room. We need unlimited space. We need unlimited Cokes because everybody gets Coke and a smile. And we're going to come together and we're going to create this cohesive ball of synergy. No, you laugh, but I feel you though, because that's what's going to take. I think that's where people come, they get the concept. It takes a village. It really does. But then it takes villages, right? So it
Yeah.
sounds like you just want to bring all the villages, take a little bit from each little. I'm gonna take some of you, put you in my grocery cart, put you in my shopping bag, and all y'all come together and let's meet. She said on a mountainous beach. So we got to find somewhere.
Where there's some mountains and then like a beach that's kind of like close by. Like
You know what it
I have to go
reminds
look
me
at that.
of? That movie Us. Did you see that movie Us?
Wait, describe. I think that's the one that I did not see because I was a little bit too. I was scared.
Hey,
I
no, I am with
was
you.
scared.
I am the biggest scary berry, and all of my friends know this. So I am surprised that I was able to watch it, but it wasn't as bad. But
Really?
anyway, at
Okay.
the end, all the, I guess I'm gonna call them the us people, the underground us people, they was holding hands across the whole world. And I remember them on like mountainous ranges and beaches because the helicopters was in the sky looking. Anyway, girl, I just went on the whole tangent. Don't let me do that. Don't let me do that.
It
The point
helps to
is,
integrate the point even further, just from a different perspective.
oh, see, there she go again. I love this. I love this. Yes, but I am with you. One of the key things that you said, you want to create a place where it's okay for women to be themselves, which is huge. Um, I think about, because I am a woman. Mhm. I think about where I am now and my childhood growing up and how there are certain expectations placed upon you, even at a very young age,
Yeah.
where if you are not fitting into this cog, if you're a square and they're trying to shove you in a hole, it creates this dissonance where you then learn to operate. I hate to say the word like, but there's a level of duplicity.
Mm.
We compartmentalize because we know it's okay to be like in my room, I'm by myself, I can, but in this certain set of people, like, so I understand what you're saying. Like, and I give this for example, my mom, God bless her soul, um, I was her only girl. So she wanted a girly girl so bad. Oh, she
Mm.
would put me in these ankle length flower dresses. Don't laugh. It was horrible. But I had four brothers. So I was their best friend and I was all their friends. So I was raised around boys. I want to go play football. I want to climb trees. I want to do all the things that my mama, woo, she did not want me to do. So, but I get you what you're saying there. Cause and not say that it was a bad thing because I was loved and I knew I was loved. But at the same time, there was
Mm.
that need to be okay with who I was. She got it later on, of course, because now I'm a little
Yeah.
girlier. I'm not always, but she, you know. But yes. Anyway, question number two.
What's that?
If you had the opportunity to speak to a younger version of yourself, let's say 4 or 5 year old De'Nicea,
Mhm.
what would little De'Nicea need to hear? I don't know if I'm okay with that, like villainous laugh you
Oh.
just gave there. We're not trying to do no Doctor Strange. We're not trying to warp the constructs of time, you know?
I love
Just like,
Doctor Strange, BT dubs. Like I would say it's funny because it's like I can see myself like walking in my elementary school right now. Um, and I'd probably say to her, like it's cool to observe the differences, but you don't have to be those differences.
elaborate.
So, like, I remember my mom telling me that sometimes this is what happens with us naturally, right? As kids, is like you start to observe outside of you, and because now you're in school, so you're exposed to all of these different people, like,
Mhm.
and they we all may be the same height, but like, but we all look different.
Yeah.
And so my mom told me, like, I came home one day and I was like, Mom, why is my hair like, and I forgot the girl's name, but the girl, she said it was a little white girl. And she had she's the very straight type of hair. And I wasn't getting relaxers or anything either. So I had my curly hair and I was telling
Yes.
her like, oh, I wanted it to be like hers.
Oh,
Yeah. And so like we just kind of imagine if we are these kids and we go out into our schools, if it's pre-K or whatever, that is like potentially the first time that we're hyper focused on or being in an area where there are so many different, but potentially so many different looking people that are around us. And so like to be able to come in, and it's not that my mom didn't say it. I think it's one of those like you just don't know until it happens when your kid comes home and it's like they want to be like somebody else,
right.
all based on a look, but like yeah, just to keep reiterating that it's okay to observe the differences because the differences are there, but you don't have to be those differences. Just be you while appreciating the difference that you do observe and that you do see, and like that's it. Just to take note and be like, oh, that's cool, but I still like me and I still love me in the way I
Yeah,
am.
I love that. I love that. And it's really important. And that's even at our age now. Like great for,
Mm,
younger you if she can hear that, great. How much more self-love you'd have, how much more capacity for empathy you'd have, how much more of everything you've had if we would have grasped that like confidently at a younger age. But even now, like that's something that can certainly be relayed to adults, like people our
yeah,
age, right? You
yeah,
all kinds of people. I hate to say names, but I'm like, so I mean, I'm sorry. This is all love. It's simply an observation. Where we'll use Miss Lil Kim as an example.
okay.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Before she touched anything on her whole body. And now it's like you can see where she was kind of like you said, she saw the differences and she wanted it. So you can see the differences. Yes,
Hmm.
I got kinky curly hair and I like my kinky curly hair. And yes, I have dark skin. I like my dark skin. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
I was just using that as an example of it's okay to notice the differences and not necessarily want to aspire to that as it pertains
yeah,
to that kind of thing.
yeah. And I think that anytime we're doing things where we're like changing our bodies, and it's usually like I invite the exploratory conversation personally because I just like learning more about people in general. And
Yeah.
so it's like, for me, I would love to just have a conversation with her, just kind of see what was going on and how she might have gotten there and all of that. And, it's, we all have our own individual life experiences. And then to imagine that you're somebody that's out performing, right? And it's like people buy into the way that you look. They're buying into your voice. They're buying into all these things. And then you have these set of managers and a label and all of that that's also like playing a role. And so I can imagine,
Expectations.
yeah. And then, so many of them call themselves artists, and they are. And so imagine that you're this artist who quite potentially want to express in one way through your music artistry that quite potentially could be repressed in some way by any of these people that are around you. So then are you trying to show that, are you trying to express that in other ways, or like, so this is just the things that I think about, like because I go into like, oh, and there have been times where I might see a picture and I read the caption to know who it was because they just look that different to me.
Yeah, yeah.
And at the same time, like I think about when we were in school, like in grad school, one of my favorite times a study was on facial diagnosis. And so when I think about and when I look at people and I start to look at what is it that they're accenting, what are they trying to accent and what are they trying to hide in the face. And
Really?
yeah, because it speaks to something, you're making that choice to do that, whether it's going to be almost as permanent as doing surgery, or even as simple as lip gloss. So like either way, it's what are we trying to draw attention to, and what is that speaking to from the inside that I'm wanting to kind of like guide and direct you into paying attention more to that, right? Like, and we see it every day. And so it's one of those, though, kind of going back to what you were saying, is expectations. When we were younger, where do we have these expectations, and where are they coming from? Like, it's as an adult, it's so mixed up and convoluted now.
Yeah.
And right, like, and at the same time, it's really important to kind of just take an inventory of where your impressions are coming from, as far as like what is expected, and in what spaces. Who dictated that? Like who said that this is the way that it's supposed to be?
Right.
And like, and I think that it's navigating through all of that stuff, which is where it is that we can lose a little bit more of who we are,
Mm,
slash we may know a little bit more about who we are, but don't want to express it in that space.
right.
Like there's a meme that I saw go around. I don't know if you saw it, but it was like, it said something about like, oh, people at work, oh, just be who you are. And then they said me, but I don't want to get fired. Like,
Oh,
so,
facts. Facts. Listen.
but that speaks to exactly what we're talking about, right? Like, where is it? Which is why I said I would love to have like workplace executives, like, and HR people that are there. Like, where is it that you have in your built into your culture that people don't even feel like their job is safe if they were to be who
Them.
they are?
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Yeah, like, and so in what other places do people feel like that? Like, I can't I oh, you don't want me to be who I am because you going to disown me. You've heard that before.
Mm,
Like, people saying that within their families, right? And so then they'll resist being who they really feel like they want to be and express, because they don't want to be disconnected or disowned. And
that makes
some
me
have
sad.
actually experienced it.
Like like when you say stuff like that, it makes me think of like LGBTQ. Like
Mhm.
you are in a whole family. Like this could be somebody who expelled you from their body. Like I gave birth to you. I pushed you out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you are flesh of my flesh, you are blood of my blood. And then if you decide to go a different route as it pertains to your sexual preference, then like my heart aches when I hear the stories like my mom, disowned me, or my dad. Like
Mhm.
this is your whole like this is everything you know. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't wrap my mind around it. And I was about to say I don't know why I went there, but I do know why you went there. Why I went there because of like what you said about the. Okay.
Yeah.
So
But
I
I mean,
found
there's all
myself.
sorts of, it's all good. I mean, I feel like that's what the whole conversation is like, and what way, like, we have all these things that are around us, and the more that we can be consciously aware of it, then we can also be consciously aware of how we interplay with it, and also in what ways is that we can take ownership for our own
Yes.
impact into
Yes.
others, right?
Yes.
So like, that's how I see it. And I feel like the feelings that you were having, those emotions that you were having, is actually a sign of your compassion. And it's through having the increased compassion for ourselves and for others that will call on us to start acting and being in a different way, that actually comes from love, and it comes from compassion for others, by allowing them to be who they are, and then us allowing ourselves to be who we are.
So can I just say that you're very easy to talk to?
Ah,
Like if this is like the kind
thank
of
you.
care and attention and like brain stimulation that you're giving your clients, I see why you do what it is that you do.
Aw.
And I'll just leave that there. So I
This
want
is
to.
it. Yes.
Yes, like
Plus
yeah.
more. So
I love it. Like I feel like we could just like talk. Like forget these cameras, forget the podcast. Like, but
we're
like,
recording. Wait, what do you mean?
right? Don't tell anyone. So, like I want to tie what we're talking about into plus size,
Yeah.
because that is my topic for the month. So I don't know why I keep thinking body acceptance.
Mm.
I guess because we're talking about places where we can feel like we're okay, places where we can feel like I can be myself. And then I'm thinking about as a little child, like I don't know if it was easier for me. I've always been, I ain't gonna say big boned. I just always been a big girl. I mean, even pictures of myself, like as a little kid, I was a little chunky, chunk. And my mama, she was a big girl, and my daddy, he was a
Mm.
big man. So I don't know if it's because I was kind of raised in that atmosphere where it was like okay. Like I don't
Yeah.
remember getting bullied about it a lot. If they talked about me, they talked about me behind my back because they ain't say nothing to my face. And maybe it's because I had four brothers who were like pit bulls without a leash. Like you don't mess with the old girl. So I don't know. But I didn't receive a lot of like I didn't start getting like talk about it until I was like older.
Mm-hmm.
That's when boys start, realizing certain parts of the developed female anatomy, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the whole body acceptance, in your professional opinion, because this is what you deal with, right? On
Mhm.
not just body acceptance, but you deal with like women and inner acceptance. Would you say that it is something that normally, I know you can't put everybody on the same bus or whatever, so we'll generalize. Is it something that you see that starts in childhood, or is it not that simple?
Hmm. Yeah, I don't oh gosh. Yeah, that's not that simple.
Okay. I'm sorry. Well,
Yeah.
answer it however you feel necessary to. I'm not trying to put you in a square when you're a circle. So
And then which sometimes I'll morph into a triangle or a hexagon or something, right?
hey,
Like
I
I
want to
think
foster an environment where you're free to do feel like you can be yourself. So
that's what I'm with you. I okay, so I when I think about this, I think about because though sometimes that is something that would apply for someone, right? Is needing to explore childhood. And some it's even exploring into birth, like during the birthing process, right? So I say birth because if you've ever had those conversations, and for some, and me being in the reproductive health area, I would hear these types of stories, right? And so imagine if you were the infant and then you got brought up with, they told me that my body wasn't big enough to birth a 9-pound baby, or that, oh, you were so big you just ripped me apart. So imagine, but because there might have been a tear, but the way that it was said can get someone, you can see how that might catalyze,
yeah,
like okay, well now you have this woman who physically doesn't feel like she can actually birth, and then the stories that we would end up telling the infant, or like she's hearing that, and then like some people downplay how much it is that babies actually learn. They learn a lot. Why do you think it is they say play certain music, or they recognize voices from in utero and stuff? It's like you have to understand they're very smart. It's just in the way that they perceive and take in information might be different because they're not vocal yet or verbal. So the thing is they're picking up these messages of, wow, like my body is too big and I'm hurting my mom, like, or like you understand what I'm saying? Like it's not like, oh, they had to like test me to learn how to latch, when really it was a natural reflex and you could do it. And so you could go there, and for some it could be that it started there and it was during that birthing time and that birthing experience. And then it could also be into toddlerhood, right? Like that whole, you went from a period where you could just freely go and pee in your pants and poop in your pants all you wanted. Somebody was gonna
Right.
come and somebody was gonna just come and clean it up, right? And then now you're having to learn to listen to the cues of your body to be able to communicate to someone like, I gotta go potty, right? And now there's other ways though, like that you had a natural cue, which was hunger, and you had a natural cue that was sleeping, right? But if you were in an environment where it may not have been convenient for those that were around you, or they were told, no, they need to be on a sleep schedule, they need to be on a food schedule, you started to disembody. So those are
Mm,
time periods where you then started to lose that connection of learning, oh, I am hungry, or oh, I do need to sleep, or I may have needed a little bit more sleep, but they woke me up because they're supposed to wake me up every 3 hours or something like that, right? um so like you kind of lose that internal gauge, and then you grow up with that because now, right, you're now in this mass school system that says, well, we got to find some way to feed hundreds of children, and so we're going to do them in these shifts. And so right now y'all are going to eat lunch, quote unquote, at 10:15, and then but you guys are going to eat at like 12:30, and then no, there's no snacks in the classroom allowed,
right.
right? So like you have these external structures that are saying that are kind of like, and I get it, like you're trying to create something where you're trying to create a container for a large number of people
Right.
to operate in, right? It's just that this is one of the costs is, wow, we kind of are we're disembodying here in the sense that I'm not as in tuned anymore to my hunger. Or perhaps you are, but they would have categorized it as bad behavior
Oh, wow.
when really the child may have been hungry,
Wow.
right? So it's all in how it is that we might want to look at things and then support that embodying, because so for me, when I think about body acceptance, it's the embodiment part that we miss, like we might not be fully aware of, because we're trying to like keep up with these structures, and we think it's only in school. You asked me where I think it starts, and those are periods of phases of our lives that it could start there, but then it could also be in our adulthood when we get to that job and they're saying that you can only eat during this time period to this time period, and you got these breaks and blah blah blah, right? That's school, like that's what happened in school is happening in
Yeah.
the job. And so like I say that because, yeah, like you have even some careers where they feel like they can't even go to the bathroom because, say, a teacher, how many teachers will tell you they have to hold it and hold it and hold it and hold it as a teacher because they have this classroom they have to look out for until someone can even relieve them. However, their health can also change, like it's because it's trying to accommodate for that structure that they're in, right? um and so like I think there's just so many different periods and so many different places that can happen that can lead one to say it builds up, and then now you just have this like symptom that's just like irking you, and or this condition that's irking you, and then to deal with that you try to dissociate. So not only were you already disembodied, now you're trying to dissociate along in that spectrum because you're just trying to cope with whatever was going on now.
Wow.
And so it's kind of like that, I feel like with the acceptance part, it's beyond the look, it's also accepting some of these discomforts that you're feeling, because those discomforts oftentimes are messages.
Yeah.
And even the ones that are not discomforts, even the times when it feels really light and airy and you're just like, oh my gosh, and you're like skipping along, that's a message too. That's letting you know that whatever is going on right then, you are so totally enjoying. And you might want to do more of that, right? So like, but we can just so passively just be like, whatever. And then like, oh, I can cover it up. Like you're sad about something, but I'm just going to cover it up with makeup. Right.
Wow.
So how much is it that you quite possibly are not even trying to be in whatever it is that the sadness is coming from? You might need to process that. And I totally get, totally get that on a day to day, something like that may come up and you might be in an environment that is like, oh crap, I can't,
Right.
I can't go there. Like,
Not in front of
right.
right.
Like, so then that's when I ask like, okay, where is the place? Like immediately right then and there, where is the place? What can you do? Can you go to your car? Can you go on a walk? Can you go, just to the restroom or something and see it as a place of reprieve, not as a place of hiding it. So that's the difference.
So there's so much like I know I asked that one question thinking, ooh, yeah, but no. She was like, no, let's dive deep into that a little. But I needed it because you brought up so many things that I did not even consider. Like there's always for every reaction, there's something cause and effect. So yeah, man. I had a million one different rabbit holes and tangents that I could go down, but I was like, man, I might have to bring you back because I just feel like the time is getting away from us. But that's a good thing, though, right? Just causing me to consider so much, and I'm literally trying to process as I'm speaking at the same time.
So allow it. I say just allow it because the seed's already been planted. So the integration process may not just happen here. It's going to continue.
Man, see, that's what I'm talking about. You're really easy to talk to. God bless your ministry. So,
Thank you.
author of I Am Perfect. And then you have the I Am Perfect Academy.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the I Am Perfect podcast. Listen, I'm ready to embrace this. I am perfect. Like, talk to me. Uh, what inspired the book? What inspired the academy? What is the podcast about? Tell us.
Yes. I do this too. You're like, hey. Not gonna lie, I'll do that when I might do something that my husband be like, D man, and I'll be like
like, right, but I'm adorable, so don't.
yeah. Okay, so all right. So really what happened was it's just kind of gives y'all a little bit. You've experienced a part of just me facilitating the way that to me that holistic healing actually occurs.
Okay.
So there to me does not seem like in a lot of spaces holistic healing is in this type of understanding. So the way that I present it in my spaces is holistic is literally taking a look at and really bringing in all the aspects, like so many. I don't even want to say all the aspects because I don't know if there could be even more than like later on, right? But the various aspects that play a role into who you are, right? And so that can be the spiritual, it can be physical, it could be mental, emotional, it could be environmental, which also includes social aspects. But they all play a role in your healing. And when I say healing, I say it in the sense I'm using ing intentionally, because it's my intention that people realize like this is a journey. It's not a destination. And so as you'll see, there will be like periods of time where, whoa, like yeah, oh, that called my attention. And then there's that healing that happens there. But then there's healing that happens someplace else. And there's healing that'll happen someplace else. And so it's this like this growth and this expansion of the self. That growth and expansion though to me happens and how I see it is that it gets to that point because you're learning more about who your authentic self is, and then you're allowing that to come through in your being in your every day to day. So like what was happening was I might have someone their attention was called due to some physical discomfort, pain, whatever it might be, and as I'm going doing my magic and stuff like that of like assessing and then diagnosing and then like, oh well, let's offer this as part of your treatment, right? What happened was I saw a connection in the sense of like, whoa, when there were big shifts being made, or even something that I'd say, oh, you're not even eating enough. What do you mean I'm not eating enough? Right. And say that she was bigger in a bigger body. So to all of a sudden have somebody tell you you're not eating enough, imagine then what happens. You start to open up these windows and these doors that is into this exploration of into the relationship with food, then the relationship within family, because then that's inevitably tied in, and then it turns into so many other things, but they played a role into the one thing of we need to add this food into. And but it was like it was more than that. And so like to see then how it is that it's all your it's all of this that is you. You're not just this one piece, it's all. And so what most people don't realize is that the root meaning of perfect is whole and complete. And so whenever I might hear these like I'm not perfect or this isn't ever, and I'm like hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up. First of all, you are whole and you are complete, therefore you are perfect. The more you continue to go about thinking that you're not perfect, you're saying to yourself, I'm not whole, meaning then that you feel like you're broken, and then that you needing to be repaired. And I'm saying, no, you are whole and you are complete. You simply are getting messages through this symptom and through this condition that's letting you know that you are actually not being into your authentic self as much as you can be. And so like sometimes when I would talk with her, I might ask a question. I ask questions a lot because that's how I learn and process. So I might ask this question of, well, what is it that you want to do? Oh, I don't know. And if there's something that I picked up from my husband, when we first started, he's like, there's no, I don't know. Cause I noticed that I would say it too. And I've since then learned that it's actually a placeholder when we just jump out and say, I don't know. It's a placeholder for many, 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 many instances. I'm not going to say every single one, but it is a placeholder because if you actually sit and then all of a sudden you'll hear it, be like, it'll be the first thing. Oh, I don't know. Well, if I could do, and it comes after that, I don't know.
Okay.
So it's like you actually do know. It's just a matter of whether or not you feel like the environment and the circumstance that you're in, that you feel safe to communicate that.
Because now you're making me think, because I say I don't know a lot. I do. But sometimes I don't be knowing for real. And my issue is like I don't have a problem with you knowing that I don't know, that I don't have all
Mhm.
the answers, and it's not my responsibility to have all the answers all the time. So I'm comfortable with telling people I don't know.
So actually, then what I would do is there's going to be a pattern to it. If you're asked, right? And then there's a pattern. I know it is, I feel it. When there are those circumstances where it really is like, I really don't know, then I would sit with that and start to see what links them together.
Okay.
And then the other times where I might be like, I don't know, but then over time, like all of a sudden it comes out, then that's quite possible too. So, and I say that from personal experience and me observing it and others, right? like they would say that I no, I really don't know. I know I really don't know. And I'm like, all right, well, what can I say? I might ask it a different way, right?
Like I'll let you keep that
And
placeholder for
then
now.
yeah, like because the thing is I and you could bring it to the biomedical and the biophysical aspects of it. When we're asked questions, our brain's going to start looking for the answer, right? And so like sometimes it's deeper, sometimes it is like it could be connected to another experience where you really weren't supposed to say anything and you did, and there was backlash. And so then it becomes a mechanism of coping in that, like, crap, is it really okay for me to say this? Or really no. Like so he really might just say like, oh, I don't know. And then there could be another circumstance where it's like where you always seen as the know-it-all.
Mm.
And then it got converted for where it's like, oh, do I really want to be the know-it-all? Like, is that a bad thing, or is that like, you know what I mean? And so sometimes it's even just sitting there and just observing it, and then also seeing, is there a certain theme to those questions that are being asked where you do have that response of no, I really don't know, and then you're just kind of like sitting there, and then what theme is there?
So out of all of this, now I am a naturally, I call myself nosy, but you can say, nosy,
Inquisitive.
inquisitive, whatever. My dad used to call me nosy Rosie. I am. I'm okay with that. But what I'm observing, out of all this exploratory thought and or processing, the book I Am Perfect was born. And then the podcast I Am Perfect. Um, I do have a really quick question about the Playfully Yours blog. Because I
Mm.
saw some, I be stalking websites, not stalking in a bad way. I don't want you to psychoanalyze me. I stalk, but it's because I
You're
need to know who I'm
inquisitive.
dealing with. So, on your website, it says how to improve fertility with PCOS with it, polycystic ovary syndrome. 5 ways to experience social closeness amidst social distancing and beyond. My mouth and my brain trying to fight, but I and I know this is bad, like because our time is wrapping up here, and I'm about to jump into a subject like PCOS. But I guess my question is, how can you? And this is not in a negative connotation, so hear my heart.
Mhm.
But how can you say, okay, this is how I can improve fertility? Because PCOS ain't nothing to take a jab at. But how can you say through my processes, this is how I can help you improve your chances of conceiving,
Yeah.
essentially, right?
Yeah.
Through
Yes.
fertility.
Yes. So real quick before I jump into that, I want to wrap up what your last question is too, because I
Okay.
realized I missed those three things with the book, the podcast, and the academy. Basically, what bridges all of them together is just there's those are different ways, the different tangible ways that it is that I can facilitate the process for you to realize that you're whole and complete.
Mm,
And so I kind of go in it from all these different angles. And so what those are those, that's the way that that's the tangible part of me being able to do that, right? And with the academy, out of those three, that's the one that's more live in the sense of we have play group. So that's your chance to come to me with some things that's going on, and if you're wanting more insight and guidance, then I'm there with you, kind of like this, except it'd be a little bit more, right? Like,
yep.
just so I can have some understanding, and then to help you along in that process of realizing your wholeness and your completeness, and to realize that, like, what are some of the things that are at play that that you may not see, may not have considered. But that's my gift, is I'm able to connect these dots like that, for people, and then to give you some insight. Say, here are some strategies, like what can you do? And then kind of like, here you go, now off and go do it. And then if you come back into the play group, then we'll see where you're at, and then where else you might want to go. So that's where all of that came in.
Okay.
um and then so I say that because then with something with PCOS, um PCOS is definitely ever living. Like it's a dynamic syndrome, right?
Mm,
It's and so With that one is quintessential. You have to understand what else is going on, because it is metabolic, it is endocrine, it is reproductive, it's all these different systems, right? It is going to be even mental, emotional involved in that too. And so with that, that's where it is that I might see someone and like work with her in where are you at now, right? Like, where are you at? Let me get a lay of the land. That's what I'm doing, is I'm getting a lay of the land. And then I want to see, in what ways is it that we could potentially improve the communications amongst these different areas of the land? So if I kind of envision it like a kind of like a map where you have like, you got the mountains over here, then you got downtown over there, and you got uptown over here, and then you got the farm over here, but they all together help that whole community thrive, right? And so that's what it is. Even with PCOS, is sitting there and looking at what are the elements that are involved, where is she at in that, and then how is it that we can improve the communication. And so the thing with PCOS, with most, it's not all, but with most, it is that element of whether or not you're ovulating, when it comes in, because your question was specifically into fertility. And so the thing is there are some tests that some women choose to do. You don't have to. It's actually more that I don't, trying to think. I don't think I've actually had anyone ever actually do the test that follows day by day if she ovulated. Um, because what it is that we did improve, like our intention was to improve the environment that was conducive to ovulation.
Okay.
And that was also conducive to, if there was ovulation, then the quality of that egg, but then also the quality of the tubes for the movement, right, of the egg to come through and the sperm to also come through the other way, because that's where conception takes place, is actually in the tubes. Um, and then facilitating the implantation. So so it's kind of like when we are putting it together, we are looking at those different pieces. Does blood sugar play a role? Yes, it does. What affects blood sugar though? Stress. What's causing stress? Could it be workplace? Could it be at home? Could it be just the fertility journey itself? Could it be things with your friends? Right? Then it's okay. So, how are you thinking? Like, what's happening mentally and emotionally? What's going on within the gut? The mental, emotional stuff can actually come from the gut. But then, if that's coming from the gut, then you also have the hormones that are at play that are actually coming from the microbiome that's within the gut. So, you end up seeing that you're like, that we are looking at all, like I just listed probably
All of
4 or 5
that.
different things.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
one symptom. And I
Yeah.
hate to say it's a symptom, but I'll go for one diagnosis, then I'll say.
Hmm. And the thing is I feel like I know we're talking about PCOS, but the way that I look at it actually applies to so many other things.
Yeah,
Like
that's what
it
I'm
could
seeing.
be you're seeing digestive. Somebody can come in and say they have this digestive concern. Okay. Someone can come in and say they have painful periods. Someone can come in and say that they have fibroids. Someone else can come in and be like, oh, I have respiratory, like allergies and asthma and stuff like that. And they need some support with that. So it's like, but in any of those, how I see it is you're just coming to me saying that this is what the title is, but I'm still going to go through and be like, well, tell me how it shows up for you. And even through that journey of how things are showing up, you end up seeing that you're talking about the poop, you're talking about urine, you're talking about your relationships with others, you're talking about relationship with yourself, you're talking about I'm going to tell you, there are some things that show up now that you can actually link to the birthing process. That was your birthing process, you know. And so like asthma, actually there have been some correlations to um, during the birthing process, if there was a time period that maybe you were in the canal a little bit too long. And then there was like the stifling, like of difficulty in breathing, right? Like, so even those kinds of things, anxiety, and whatever anxiety that it comes out as for you can be linked to these other aspects of your life that's calling your attention, that may need that attention, that tender love and care for the healing to happen there. So that way it's when you become aware of it, you're bringing it into that consciousness. You're bringing it into the consciousness now. So that way it doesn't continue to rule you unconsciously. So it's kind of like that thing where you are doing a lot of stuff and not really realizing that you're just doing it just to be doing
Yeah.
it. But really it's that response to that trauma or to that stressor that you're working from that place. And what I'm inviting you to do is to work from a place from your authentic self, and just realizing that your experience with that, right, is this invitation.
So what I see it as, basically in my head, a huge ball of tangled Christmas cords that everybody keep in the basement. Okay, time to go out, get that big old clear Tupperware, big old jug, and unravel all of those cords until you can get like a straight line. In this case, a
Mm-hmm.
straight line of sight. It's like you have to dig through much stuff to get to the core issue. You have to dig through the issue of the issue of the issue of the issue to
Yeah.
get to. So that's what I'm like hearing from you. And I'm like,
And it might be enticing to say, yeah, I'm just going to take the ball of lights and throw it out though. So
yes,
that's very enticing. But then guess what? If there were those underlying core things that are there, that new string of lights you just got are going to bundle right up.
right on up. My goodness, you, and I'm saying this in a not like for real way. Well, it's real. Okay, so I don't know how to say what, but you make me feel stupid. But
No.
no, that's what I'm saying. Don't be like, oh, you're not stupid. No, because it's like you're causing me to think on a deeper level. You're causing me to consider some of the things that are currently as they are, but what are the circumstances lying beneath? So not like, oh, I feel dumb, like but like it's like dang, like, so if this is like, once again, if this is the kind of treatment that your clients get, like, I'm having some serious like case of FOMO right now, and I'm like, it's like ridiculous. So like our hour is up. Like
You don't have to miss out.
that's what I'm like. I'm like my, there are like fireworks literally popping off in my mind. Like I'm like, wow. Um, I swear it's like I'm gonna have to bring you back because I didn't get through like a third of what we wanted to discuss today. And I'm seeing that I'm having that difficulty more often. And I guess that's a good thing because the conversation is great. But at the same time, it's like I wanted to get to some of this stuff in this place.
We can
So
make it if you want to. If you want to make it a rapid fire, I promise. If you call it, the soon as our host says this is rapid fire, I'm like, okay. And then next.
no, I don't want it because I like rabbit holes. Like I have a friend where I used to do Bible study, and we used to do a Bible study, and I used to find these rabbit holes, and I would find myself way off somewhere here. But she's like, "Hey, baby, come on back." But I love it because it's like, because I'm nosy. I told you. So it's like I don't want to do the rapid fire because I want you to get in there and answer those questions and then peel back layers. Anyway, okay, Andra, I digress. Listen, what I want you to do at this point is to tell all of my listeners where they can find you, whether it be email addresses, websites, social media handles, whatever. Where can my people find you? Because like I said, and I keep saying this over only because it's true, you're really easy to talk to. Like I feel calm, I feel refreshed, I feel like, and this is just from a conversation. So it's like I can only imagine what your people are getting, the ones that work with you. So where can my folks find you?
Come out and jam with me at the perfect playground.
Where is the perfect playground? Where is it?
It's theperfectplayground.com.
Okay. She said come out. I'm like, well, where is that?
come on, you know what? Just come on out with your fingertips on your on the desktop, or even they have an app, because it's my online community, and that's where I literally like house everything. I realized that I saw the playground in existence before I actually had a place, and people were like, "Well, no, like where can I go?" And I was like, maybe I need to have that. Like, and so I
Yeah.
so that's what I did was it's housed right now within the Mighty Networks. And so Mighty Networks has an app. So like literally you can just pull it up and you'll join in through the perfect playground. That's my hangout spot. That's the spot where like I introduce through posts like these types of things to encourage that reflection, but we do it playfully. Like they're asking you to do these activities so that you can explore it even more. And um that's one of those, like, I'm just gonna kind of be here lackadaisically, kind of chill, and just kind of take in things. And then the academy is for those that want to go like, okay, no, I want to like talk about it, I want to take in this experience, and that's also on the perfect playground. So I'm right there. Also my social media is De'Nicea. It's at De'Nicea Hilton on those. So you can feel free to follow me on there and DM me if you'd like. But I'm going to tell you, if you're at the perfect playground, you can DM me through the perfect playground too. So yeah, either of those. It's going to be those. I named only those because those are the top ones right now. Like
Okay. That's fine. And I thank you for that. So if you'll remind me when I do post this, which will probably be either today or tomorrow, I will add your link, or I will like tag you or whatever. So that way, if people do have questions, they can sneak in and like DM you or whatever. Cause sometimes people don't want to ask those kind of questions like publicly, and I totally get it. So I want them to have access to you so they can have those questions.
Yeah, definitely. They can surely do that. And if you're open to it, I can offer something too, in case they might be more skittish and they want a trial. There is a trial to the academy, so I can give you that link too if they want to just try it out.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, you're gonna have to make sure to send that to me, girlfriend. Because people like free stuff. But at the same time, it gives people the opportunity for those skittish people, for the unbelievers, or for the does she really know what she's talking about? Let me try it out.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And I actually believe, I'm like, you know what? I don't necessarily, sometimes I ask myself that too, right? I'm like, is it really free? It's not really free because you just offered up your time.
Facts. There you go.
So, and it's just a matter of like, do you put in the effort to really leverage what was just given to you in exchange?
Right.
So that's what for me, that's what I would much rather. I see it as that. Be like,
well, you heard that, folks. He gives out free trials. Like you go into the what's the ice cream shop where they get a little, I want the piss off spoon.
One? Cold Stone.
Whatever. I don't know. They give you a little piss off spoon and let you taste to see if you like. I mean, literally be like a drop. But anyway, she giving y'all taste testings, and I'll make sure that the link is provided to you once I post this. Miss De'Nicea, it has been a pleasure. I kid you not. Thank you for your time. Thank you for choosing to spend your morning with We Are Not So Different and sharing with me and my guests. I feel full, and I feel like I'm going to have go have a sit down session and just think about some things and process. No, you laughing, but I'm serious. I was like, you said a whole lot, but I didn't, so much that I had never considered. Like, there's so much more than what is at face value. Like, so yeah, I'm gonna go somewhere in a corner and sit. And I don't know why a corner, just a corner. I'm just gonna go somewhere and sit.
Feel safe right there.
Yeah. So to my We're Not So Different family, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode. I appreciate you guys. Until next week, do something nice for yourself. It's hot. I don't know, go have some ice cream. Try multiple flavors. Do something nice for yourself. Love y'all. Peace. We are not so different.